Hey everybody, this is Perch. Got a bunch of questions about the channel, not about comics. So I don't, you can't. I don't want to do a full video, and these videos always do terrible. But maybe I'll put some kind of really super spicy clickbait headline on there, so a bunch of people will click in, and now they're listening to the first 10 seconds, going, "You bastard!" And you could downvote away, but nobody will see the results. So, haha! Thank you, YouTube. Anyway, let's answer some of these questions. I've been curious about some of this stuff. So, first question, I've just got them kind of listed here, so I've removed the pleasantry. So, what is with the changing theme song? Ah, the answer to that is I don't really care about the theme song. So sometimes people have sent it to me. Sometimes I've gone out and found some. Sometimes I just grab this. I grab a theme song. Generally speaking, I will record these videos and I'll record 30 to 40 of them. And then I'll batch process them. So you'll get one theme song for like 30 videos and they'll switch to the next one because that's when I go in there and I make an edit. This channel would be so much more powerful and impressive if I spent time actually editing and caring for it. But that is not the game that's being played here. So, that's what you get. But that's the changing theme song. If you have a theme song, you can send it to me. Some people have. It's always fun. Happy to use whatever you send, and we'll throw it in there. So, we can do stuff. Yeah, my daughter, for a brief like 5 seconds, enjoyed making theme songs, and I think there were a couple of videos with something she did that was fun. But yeah, we'll go back to that. But anyway, that's the idea there. All right, question number 2. Hey Perch, why is the audio so all over the place in your videos? Well, because sometimes we're recording in the car, like right now. It's a nice Bose headset. It's supposed to have great microphone quality. You judge for yourself. It's what's fascinating to me is that no matter what scenario I'm using, and I actually I met up with a friend who has a radio station in Seattle before I moved down here, and I went into his studio and I recorded in the full like padding on the wall, microphone, everything adjusted. I recorded like 3 videos there to kind of test it, and I used that audio. And sure enough, some people bitched about the audio on those too. Like, what is it with the bad audio? Like, no matter what I'm using, somebody is complaining about the audio. Always different. It's one of those things. But sometimes I'm recording at home with a nice kind of Blue Yeti. I don't know, what is it? A nice microphone. Sometimes I'm recording from home and I'm just outside, so I'm just using the laptop microphone. It's it's all over the place. It's wherever I happen to be. That's where I'm recording, and that's what you get. So every now and then you get some environmental sounds. I know once I was outside, you could hear like a hawk, murdering something in the background, or I'm in my car and somebody's honking, or whatever. Somebody's going to honk at this car in front of me because it's trying to run the red light. And now it's just sitting there on the green light, not moving at all. So that's super. We'll just go around this guy. Wonderful. Anyway, this is the kind of real life you get from the Perch Show. There you have it. All right. Next question. Hey, Perch, why so many videos? Well, because I talk while I'm on the road and they stack up pretty quickly. So, just going about doing what I do during the day, I can crank out about 4 to 5 videos. And, so if I get an idea in my head, I make a video. Or if I see an email come in with a question, I make a video based on that question. And then, I answer that, and then 5 more questions come in. So I drive, I make some videos, I put them out. Now, I've tried at different times. You may, if you've been a long time listener to this channel, I tried doing, 1 video a day or 2 videos a day. And what happens is that the videos start to stack up rather fast. If you're doing 5 a day and then you're putting out 2 a day, you could see you just use basic math. You see what happens after about 2 weeks. Suddenly you're about a month out. And what started to occur is that the topics got way, way behind. So I talk about something, and meanwhile, people have been fired and comic industry has changed and all this kind of stuff has happened, and it shifts rather quickly. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'll do 3 videos a day. And it feels like too much, and people tell me that all the time, like, I can't keep up with your videos. And my answer to that is, don't try. Just click on the stuff that sounds like it interests you and call it a day. I don't somebody once told me, it's like, hey, I felt bad I wasn't able to click on your videos to make you money. And I don't feel bad. You don't need to make me money. Yes, I do have ads turned on to these videos. That is what YouTube's apparently wants in order to get things into search engines and other things. When I take that out, and I keep trying to dial it back. I'm trying to find that sweet spot of how few ads I can put in and still maintain YouTube SEO and putting me into search things. I've tried to take, like, I'm paying Google ads at this point for this channel. I put in, God, what is it, about $40 a month? Not much, but just put in some money. And what I was hoping was that would shut YouTube up to the point that they would preference me in the search engine. So I'm like, I'm giving them money at that point. But anyway, they don't do it. This whole system is goofy. But I don't care to make money. Like I said, I've been dumping it into comics. I've been dumping it into getting some stuff made. I went and donated a bunch to the Boys Girls Club here, and I think that's going to continue. So I mean, I'm just at this point, I'm just circulating the money around to other things, and that's what's going on. But that's why so many videos they age out, and that's also indirectly I answered some of what the money question is as well. So anyway, Texas definitely moving down here threw me off my game. I was expecting that by now I'd have both a comic out and a publishing business more announced and out, but now I'm delayed. So we are trying to get things back up and going. My wife is doing a hero's job of working extremely hard to both settle us here, get the kids in order, and then also start to help with this publishing business. So she's doing all the boring tax work and all the rest of this stuff. Yes, I am incorporated in Delaware because, why not? All right. Next question. Hey, Perch. This one was, hey, Perch, do you go to conventions? How do I meet you in conventions? And are you worried somebody will recognize you from a convention, take a photo of you, and then come and punch you in the face? Well, I am now. Um, No, so I do go to conventions. I don't hide my face. The last year of conventions, I've had a mask because I've had to get into the convention. I don't want Tom King punching me in the face. God help us all. But I don't work really hard to protect my identity. I know some people know it. I don't mention it. I keep it separate. I prefer to keep it separate, mainly because I do other things, and I don't want the two worlds mixing. It's cleaner and easier for me when they're not mixed. And also, I mean, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest, some of the weird comments that I've gotten about my family, they're disturbing. I think there are not a lot of them. There are some psychos out there who would happily attack, happily use this to go up against my family, and they shouldn't be drug into that. If I ever got the feeling like, there was, high risk of exposure, yeah, I'm walking away from this channel instantly. My kids, my family should not have to deal with that nonsense. So that's how I feel about that. So I guess I don't obsess a lot in worrying about this stuff. But if it happens, it happens. I am aware because I know that there's at least one YouTuber out there that's been trying to pay people to get dirt on me, and I think that's kind of skeezy and weird. But if that's how you want to spend your money and time, you're welcome to do it. There are people who definitely, for whatever reason, really dislike me and what I do, and so I think they'd love to try and figure out a way to embarrass me. But hopefully not. I would prefer to just be in a very simple world. I mean, I will buy you a beer. I'll meet up in a con anytime and chat. And I try and have a pretty easygoing way of things. I think there's lots of people with different opinions as me, and I don't particularly care or I worry about that. I think that you're mad if you get too obsessed with that kind of stuff. I don't know if you can hear, by the way, in the background, there's a train in front of me. So hopefully you're not hearing this constant beeping. I do remove background noise, and sometimes that helps, but this train is just slowly inching forward. Anyway, I don't know why people obsess over this stuff. This people are dumb. Anyway, other questions about the channel. Hey, Perch, when are you going to cover more indie comics like you said you would? That's true, and I definitely deserve a good beating for that one. I need to cover more indie comics, indie topics. Since I do a lot of these videos in the car at this moment, that kind of is a challenge. I go off memory, and also I can go off topics that are relatively simple that you send me. But if you send me a comic to review, an indie comic, then it's difficult to do that while I'm driving down the road. And for at least the last couple months, it's been mainly in the car. When I get home, I'm trying to help the family, unpack and all that kind of stuff. So that world does come to a better place. I start recording more videos at home. I turn my attention more to indie comics. Lots of people have sent me great stuff. So if that has been you and you haven't got a response yet, have no fear. When I see those come in, I put them into a folder, called indie reviews, and I scan them carefully. And if somebody's got something like a Kickstarter or something that's time sensitive, I try and get to that I try and make time for that. But definitely there will be more, and I will definitely help all of you who are doing some indie comics. I do care about what you're doing, and I think it's good work that you're doing. So that's what's going on there. Um, Finally, kind of last question on this, and this is a good one. Hey, Perch, do you ever worry that some of the people that you interview will cause other people not to go on with you? I thought that when you interviewed Ron Mars, that a bunch of people on one side would no longer want to talk to you or try and attack you. And when you interviewed Gabe, the Superman colorist, who's got his own Kickstarter, that people would not want to talk to you because you are now working with that side. Does that ever happen? And the answer is yes. There's definitely some people on both ends, but more on the second, that won't talk to me because I talk to somebody that they don't like, and it's sad. I think there is it, I don't know. To me, that's silly. It always comes across to me as somebody who's very insecure about their own position if they are so worried about what somebody is going to say if they go on a show where, I mean, you've listened to my interviews. They're benign. My goal with the interviews is to let the person who's interviewing talk. I heard you from the comments that, I'd let Gabe talk too much, but it's their show. It's their thing to promote. It's their interview. It's not Perch being interviewed. So the goal for me is to shut up and let them, give their point of view. And then it's up to you, the listener, to decide what you like, what you don't like. And that's the thing that's happening. I'm the facilitator in this world. This is not like a normal video like this one where I'm talking to you. It's a video where my goal is to get out of the way and let you hear from the person about whatever they're up to. I think I always have opinions on every interview I do, and I often find, and this is I guess a criticism to lots of interviews I've done, that I always wish people would go deeper into their specific craft or the comic they're making. I think in many cases it gets things go off on a tangent, and I'm like, but I personally would want to hear more about your process. When you do the penciling, like how does that get done? Is there a location that you like to go to? Do you listen to music, or do you work in silence? Like, could you pack up a board and like go sit on a beach and draw a comic page? Would that be fun? Like, I'm interested in those elements, and I always wish people would go deeper into that. And so I have to keep working to kind of pry that stuff out. But for sure, I mean, look, I think there's a number of creators who work in the mainstream. I also don't think I'm not being naive here. I don't think a lot of people are looking that closely. And several thousand videos later, I think I'm well established as this guy that the majority see as middle of the road, reasonably fair. That's what I hear. I get mails from a lot of people on all ends, including big names that are in theory heavily mentioned in the culture war, who will say things like, I don't agree with everything you say, but I appreciate, your point of view, and you try and be fair, and you explain what's on your mind, and it's fun. That's great, and that's perfect. That's all I'm asking for. I don't want my opinion to become your opinion. I think I'm giving you mine. I'll explain why I think that way, and you're welcome to have your own thing. None of this is cruel. None of this is meant to be mean. I've definitely been frustrated from time to time, but I don't have any ill will toward anyone. That's not true. I definitely have ill will to some people, but any kind of personal grudge that I have against somebody, I try and keep to myself. I don't think that's any, quite frankly, of your business. That's between me and whoever I'm pissed at, and so I don't try and bring that to the channel. But yeah, there's some people. There's some people who will not come on this channel because Gabe came on this channel, for sure, no doubt about it. But sad about it, because I've heard this before, they don't have an issue with my channel. Their concern is that somebody else will have an issue with this channel. And they don't want somebody else to go to them and say, hey, why are you doing that? It's very, very, to me, that's the most bizarre part of all this, is that there have been numerous people who have written to me and say, hey, I like what you're doing. I don't agree with some of the statements you make. I have a different taste in comics, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I, I can't, I would love to get an interview on your show, but if I did, X, Y, and Z person would be mad at me. If I did, then what was the one that kind of broke my heart a little bit was like, hey, I like your show. I don't always agree with your opinion. In fact, I disagree with 75% of what you say. But I think you try and do it fair, and you seem like a good guy who does love comics and wants to help comics, and you're not one of those screeching toxic channels, and you're trying to do the right thing. And I'd love to come on and debate with you. I'd love to come on and give a counter opinion to you. But I know that Joe Glass, specifically Joe Glass, would make a big deal out of it, and then I'd have a lot of questions from people in my DMs, and it's not worth that hassle. And it's just made me sad in my heart a little bit. Like, God, why? Who cares? Who cares? Why is that a barrier to entry? Why is that it was sad to me. Like, and for the record, I would interview Joe Glass. I absolutely would. Tell me about what you have going on. It wouldn't be one of those gotcha interviews either, where he comes on and like, aha, now that I've got you, let me ask some kind of trick question and it's going to make you embarrassed. No, I would like, hey, okay, so you had an omnibus out from Dark Horse. How did that work out? What led to that? What was the financials behind that? You've done a lot of indie comics. What is it you want to do? You've often talked about wanting to do mainstream work, but you also talk about creator owned. So where is your true path? I'd love to do that. I'd happily do that. I make no mistake about it. I know several of you would shit all over this channel if I did that. So, but I don't care. Quite frankly, I'd love to do it. But the idea that like somebody who has a different opinion, and here's the thing, I'd love for somebody who has a different opinion to come on this show and debate. When I say debate, not one of those like bitchy, nonsense debates that you sometimes hear on YouTube, where people are just shouting at each other and being dicks. But I mean, legitimately take a point, argue two sides of it, let you, the listeners, figure out what you think about it. I think that'd be great. I think that would be fun. I think that would bring us together as a community. I think it would be, as a community, I think it would be all fun. But the idea that I can't, we don't want to do that because Joe Glass, of all people, is going to bitch about it on Twitter through DMs, and it's like, oh my God, like, like that's a terrible reason. Good reasons include, I'm going on vacation. I don't have a good microphone. I don't want to talk for an hour. I have to wash my hair. Those are all good, good reasons. What somebody as Twitter is going to say in DMs is a horrible reason. But anyway, I hope that helps answering some questions. There you go. Look, at the end of the day, this channel is meant, as I've said before, to be kind of escapism for me. I'm just chatting to people. I'm enjoying it. Again, comic shop someday opens up, and I'm talking to customers. I think the quality of the videos can't go down. It's already at the bottom, but the quantity will go down because I'm fulfilling it some other way. But I've enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully you've gotten some enjoyment out of it too. And everybody's a winner, especially YouTube, who is apparently raking pennies every day off my channel. Thanks for listening.